Have you ever finished and then paused for a moment? Not because of shame, not because of guilt, but because something felt a little off. Maybe it's a whisper in the back of your mind. Am I doing this too much? Could this be why I feel tired lately? Is this still healthy at my age? If any of that sounds familiar, you're not alone, not even close. In fact, thousands of men over 40 quietly wonder the same thing, but almost none of them talk about it. Because we're taught to either laugh it off, hide it, or pretend we've got it under control. But deep down, something doesn't feel right. Maybe you've noticed your energy isn't what it used to be. Maybe you find it harder to concentrate. Or maybe, and this is the part no one wants to say out loud, you're starting to lose interest or responsiveness in the bedroom, and in the quiet of your mind, you start to ask yourself, could it be the way I'm handling my own pleasure? Now let's be clear, this isn't about judgment. Masturbation is normal. It's natural. It's a part of life. But just like food, exercise, or sleep, it has a rhythm, a limit, a point where it can support your health or quietly work against it. And when you pass that point too often, without even realizing it, your body starts sending signals. The problem? Most of us were never taught to recognize them. Worse, the internet is full of confusing advice. One article says daily is fine. Another warns it's killing your testosterone. Some YouTube guru says to quit completely, while another calls it essential. Who do you believe? The truth is, the answer isn't black or white. Because the real question isn't just how often, it's how does your body respond? In this video, we're going to answer the questions men have been too afraid to ask, backed by science, explained without shame. We'll cover how often is actually too often for men over 40, the signs that you're crossing that line, what happens to your brain, hormones, and performance when you go beyond your body's limit, and what you can do to reset, recover, and regain balance without giving up the pleasure you enjoy. If you've ever wondered whether your habits are helping or hurting you, this is your moment to finally find clarity. So take a deep breath. You're not broken. You're not alone. Let's talk about what's really going on and how you can make this a powerful part of your health, not a hidden risk. Because your body isn't trying to shame you. It's trying to speak to you. Let's learn how to listen. Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Berman. I'm a urologist, sexual health specialist, and for over 20 years, I've helped men from all walks of life understand their bodies, their hormones, and their most personal health struggles. And let me tell you something I've learned after 2 decades of listening behind closed doors. It doesn't matter how successful you are, how strong you look, or how old you feel. Almost every man, at some point, has wondered if something he's doing in private might be quietly working against him, especially after 40, because that's when things begin to shift. Not in a dramatic way, but in small, silent ways. Energy dips, motivation gets unpredictable, intimacy feels different. And while many factors play a role, stress, diet, age, sleep, there's one area that almost no one talks about openly: self-pleasure. Not because it's bad, but because, like anything powerful, it depends on how we use it. That's why I created this video. Not to scare you, not to shame you, but to give you the honest, science-backed truth that no one else is saying, because too many people still treat this subject as taboo. Here's what you can expect in the next few minutes. We'll explore what the research says about safe limits. Yes, there is a range. We'll look at what happens inside your brain and body when you cross that line. And most importantly, we'll show you how to take back control without quitting or feeling guilty. You don't need fear. You need facts. You don't need shame. You need strategy. Because when you understand how this system really works, you can make it support your energy, your focus, your drive, and even your intimacy with others. That's the power of awareness. And that's exactly what this conversation is about. Let's get into it. 3 science-based habits to keep masturbation healthy. Masturbation is not the enemy. In fact, when done mindfully, it can support your mood, your sleep, your prostate, and even your confidence. But like anything related to health, how you do it matters just as much as how often. Here are 3 science-backed habits that can help you turn self-pleasure into a tool for energy, not exhaustion, for balance, not burnout. Let's start with the most obvious, but most misunderstood factor. Habit 1. Mind your frequency and your recovery. For men over 40, recovery isn't what it used to be. Not just from workouts, but from sexual stimulation too. Back in your 20s or 30s, you might have felt ready again within hours. But with age comes hormonal shifts, especially in testosterone and dopamine sensitivity. These changes affect how quickly your body rebounds after climax. A large study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that men over 40 typically benefit most from 2 to 4 ejaculations per week. More than that, especially if paired with poor sleep or chronic stress, may lead to fatigue, mood swings, and even reduced sexual responsiveness. But here's the truth. There's no magic number for everyone. Instead, pay attention to how you feel after. Do you feel relaxed, recharged, clear-minded? Or do you notice brain fog the next day, trouble concentrating, less motivation to move or connect, a weird irritability you can't explain? These are all signs your body's asking for a longer break between sessions. Think of masturbation like a workout. If you train the same muscle every single day without rest, it stops growing. It just gets tired. Pro tip. Try a simple 3-day reset. Track your mood, energy, and drive each day. Most men are surprised by how much clarity they gain just from giving their nervous system time to breathe. Self-pleasure should leave you feeling centered, not drained. Habit 2. Break the pattern. Don't train your brain for one-track stimulation. One of the biggest hidden dangers isn't how often you masturbate. It's how predictably you do it. Same time, same grip, same fantasy, same speed, same outcome. Your brain loves patterns, and if you train it to respond only to a very specific kind of stimulation, like a tight grip, a fast rhythm, or a certain type of pornography, it can slowly lose its ability to respond to anything else. This is called arousal conditioning, and it's more common than you think. Clinical studies from Kinsey Institute and neuroscience labs in Germany show that repeated, intense, non-varied solo stimulation can lead to difficulty climaxing with a partner, delayed ejaculation, loss of excitement during real intimacy, emotional detachment from touch or eye contact. Why? Because your brain gets used to a shortcut, and relationships don't work like shortcuts. They're messy, unpredictable, emotional, human. So if you want to keep your sexual responsiveness vibrant, not dulled, switch it up. Try this. Use your non-dominant hand. Change pace. Slower is often better. Explore different body positions. Occasionally focus just on touch, breath, and awareness. No climax needed. This may feel awkward at first, but it's how you untrain your brain from mechanical dependency and retrain it for natural responsiveness. Masturbation isn't just physical, it's deeply neurological. You're not just stimulating your body, you're shaping your brain. Make sure you're shaping it toward connection, not disconnection. Habit 3, choose imagination over pixels whenever you can. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, porn. Now, I'm not here to demonize it. I'm here to give you the full picture. Pornography, especially modern internet porn, is designed to overload your dopamine system. Fast cuts, novel scenarios, endless variety. It's engineered to stimulate more than any real-life situation ever could. And over time, this rewires your brain. Neuroscientists at Cambridge University scanned the brains of men who used porn daily and found changes very similar to those in people addicted to drugs. Their reward circuits were less responsive to normal stimuli. They needed more intensity just to feel the same level of excitement. This is why some men report needing more extreme content to feel aroused, losing interest in their partner, feeling emotionally flat or anxious after climax, struggling with erections, despite strong visual arousal. The solution isn't necessarily to quit porn cold turkey, unless you want to. It's to rebalance the source of your pleasure. Start by incorporating memory-based or fantasy-based stimulation at least once a week. Use your own imagination, your stories, your memories, your desires. Yes, it takes more effort than clicking a link, but what you gain in self-awareness, emotional connection, and neurological flexibility is worth it. This one change alone has helped countless men in my clinic regain their excitement, their depth of feeling, and even repair intimacy with their partners. When you remove the shock from stimulation, you start to feel the subtle, and in that subtlety is where real pleasure begins again. In summary, if you're over 40 and want to make masturbation a healthy, energizing part of your life, here's what to focus on. Listen to your recovery signals. Let your energy and clarity, not your calendar, guide your frequency. Break the pattern. Keep your brain adaptable by changing how you stimulate, not just how often. Limit hyperstimulation. Reclaim your imagination. Trust your own story. And don't let pixels replace your senses. This isn't about control. It's about connection to your body, to your desire, to your vitality. And the good news? Your body is always listening. And it's never too late to give it something better to respond to. Let me introduce you to Marco. He's 52, works in corporate finance, divorced, no kids, lives alone in a quiet apartment in Chicago. He's successful, sharp, and to most people, he seems like he's doing just fine. But when Marco came to see me, he didn't feel fine. He sat across from me in my office, hesitant at first. Then he said, "I know this might sound silly, but I think I broke something. And I don't know how to fix it." I asked him to tell me more. He had been relying on masturbation as a way to decompress, especially after his divorce. What started as an occasional stress relief became a daily habit, sometimes twice a day. And at first, it helped. It gave him a sense of control, of escape. But then, subtle things started to change. His sleep became fragmented. He'd wake up feeling groggy no matter how many hours he got. His focus at work dipped. His motivation to exercise disappeared. He stopped feeling any real desire to date. But what concerned him most was what happened, or rather didn't happen, when he finally went out on a date with someone new. I was attracted to her. She was smart, funny, gorgeous. But when we got close, nothing happened. I mean, nothing. His voice broke slightly when he said that, not from shame, but from fear. He thought he was losing his manhood. But here's what I told him. You didn't break anything, Marco. You just pushed your nervous system into overdrive and forgot to let it breathe. I explained what was happening inside his body. Dopamine depletion from overstimulation, hormonal dysregulation due to poor sleep, arousal conditioning from repetitive, high-intensity solo sessions, emotional shutdown from using climax as a coping tool, and then we made a simple plan. No drastic bans, no shaming, no overnight changes. First, we agreed on a 7-day reset. No porn, no climax, just rest and awareness. Then we reintroduced mindful practices. A morning walk, magnesium before bed, 2 minutes of slow breathing every afternoon, and a shift in his mindset from release to reconnect. He journaled his energy and mood. He tracked his sleep. And within 3 weeks, he sent me this message. I feel like I'm rebooting, like my senses are coming back online. By week 5, he had gone on another date, and things felt normal again. Not just physically, but emotionally. He was present, engaged, aware, responsive. Marco didn't stop masturbating. He just changed his relationship with it. I used to do it to run away from myself, he told me. Now I do it to come back home. His story isn't rare. It's just rarely told, because most men carry these questions alone, in silence, in shame, in confusion. But when we bring them into the light, when we meet them with science, compassion, and curiosity, we don't just reclaim function, we reclaim connection. And that's where real healing begins. So what exactly happens inside your body when you go past the limit? Why does something that feels so good in the moment leave you foggy, flat, or even frustrated the next day? Let's break it down in the simplest way possible. We'll talk about 4 key systems in your body: dopamine, testosterone, nitric oxide, the pelvic nervous system. Each one plays a vital role in your energy, desire, and performance, and each one can be quietly thrown off when masturbation becomes a bit too frequent or too intense. 1. Dopamine, the motivation molecule. Dopamine is the chemical your brain releases when something feels rewarding. It's what makes you feel pleasure, and also what drives you to want more. Now here's the tricky part. Every time you climax, your brain gets a big hit of dopamine, especially if it's paired with novelty, like porn or fantasy. But after that high, your dopamine levels dip. That's natural. This doesn't mean abstinence is the answer. It means your hormone system needs balance. Think of testosterone like a bank account. Every climax is a small withdrawal. But if you're not making enough deposits through sleep, movement, sunlight, and rest, eventually your account runs low. And when testosterone is low, you may notice slower recovery after climax, less interest in intimacy, reduced physical strength, emotional fatigue. The key isn't to stop, it's to support your system in between. 3. Nitric oxide, the unsung hero of circulation. If you've ever wondered why things down there don't work quite like they used to, it may not be about desire. It may be about blood flow. That's where nitric oxide comes in. This molecule helps relax and widen your blood vessels, especially in the pelvic region. It's critical for strong erections and consistent circulation. But here's what most men don't realize. Overstimulation, especially with no movement, poor diet, or constant sitting, can reduce nitric oxide levels. That means weaker erections, slower recovery, reduced sensitivity. And because nitric oxide also supports brain circulation, low levels can lead to mental fatigue too. Want better function? Support your flow. Hydration, deep sleep, leafy greens like spinach, walking after meals, these rebuild your nitric oxide bank and improve every part of performance, including pleasure. 4. Pelvic nerve fatigue, the quiet burnout. Here's something no one talks about. Your pelvic nerves, especially the pudendal nerve, can actually get tired. When you overdo it, especially sitting in the same position using intense grip or pressure, you can cause micro-irritation to the nerves responsible for sensation, erection, and even bladder control. It's like overusing a muscle that was never meant to be on all the time. What does that feel like? Numbness, dull sensitivity, tingling, pelvic tightness, trouble fully emptying your bladder. If you're feeling less down there, not more, that's your nervous system asking for a timeout, and it deserves one. So what's the big picture? Here's the truth. Masturbation isn't dangerous, but when it becomes daily, intense, and unconscious, your body responds the only way it knows how. By going numb, by pulling back, by shutting down, not out of weakness, but out of protection. It's like a safety switch. The good news? That switch isn't permanent. You can reset the system, support your hormones, vary your stimulation, respect your recovery, feed your circulation, and give your nervous system space to breathe. Your body wants to work. It wants to respond. It just needs you to stop pushing and start listening, because the goal isn't to give up pleasure. The goal is to make it feel good again, not just in the moment, but in the days that follow too. The problem starts when you repeat the spike too often without giving your brain time to reset. Imagine slamming the gas pedal of a car over and over again. Eventually, the engine overheats. You might start to feel brain fog, mood dips, lack of motivation, emotional flatness. And because dopamine also affects your focus and drive, this can spill into your work, your workouts, and even your relationships. Your brain isn't broken, it's just overloaded. What it needs isn't more stimulation. It needs rhythm. 2. Testosterone, the foundation of male vitality. Testosterone is your base hormone. It fuels your energy, strength, libido, confidence, and even your clarity. Now, contrary to some myths, masturbation doesn't destroy your testosterone, but it does affect how it behaves, especially if you go too often without recovery. Studies show that frequent ejaculation can cause temporary drops in testosterone levels, especially when combined with poor sleep, chronic stress, sedentary lifestyle. This doesn't mean abstinence is the answer. It means your hormone system needs balance. Think of testosterone like a bank account. Every climax is a small withdrawal. But if you're not making enough deposits through sleep, movement, sunlight, and rest, eventually your account runs low. And when testosterone is low, you may notice slower recovery after climax, less interest in intimacy, reduced physical strength, emotional fatigue. The key isn't to stop, it's to support your system in between. 3. Nitric oxide, the unsung hero of circulation. If you've ever wondered why things down there don't work quite like they used to, it may not be about desire. It may be about blood flow. That's where nitric oxide comes in. This molecule helps relax and widen your blood vessels, especially in the pelvic region. It's critical for strong erections and consistent circulation. But here's what most men don't realize. Overstimulation, especially with no movement, poor diet, or constant sitting, can reduce nitric oxide levels. That means weaker erections, slower recovery, reduced sensitivity. And because nitric oxide also supports brain circulation, low levels can lead to mental fatigue too. Want better function? Support your flow. Hydration, deep sleep, leafy greens like spinach, walking after meals. These rebuild your nitric oxide bank and improve every part of performance, including pleasure. 4. Pelvic nerve fatigue, the quiet burnout. Here's something no one talks about. Your pelvic nerves, especially the pudendal nerve, can actually get tired. When you overdo it, especially sitting in the same position, using intense grip or pressure, you can cause microirritation to the nerves responsible for sensation, erection, and even bladder control. It's like overusing a muscle that was never meant to be on all the time. What does that feel like? Numbness, dull sensitivity, tingling, pelvic tightness, trouble fully emptying your bladder. If you're feeling less down there, not more, that's your nervous system asking for a timeout, and it deserves one. So what's the big picture? Here's the truth. Masturbation isn't dangerous, but when it becomes daily, intense, and unconscious, your body responds the only way it knows how. By going numb, by pulling back, by shutting down, not out of weakness, but out of protection. It's like a safety switch. The good news? That switch isn't permanent. You can reset the system, support your hormones, vary your stimulation, respect your recovery, feed your circulation, and give your nervous system space to breathe. Your body wants to work. It wants to respond. It just needs you to stop pushing and start listening, because the goal isn't to give up pleasure. The goal is to make it feel good again, not just in the moment, but in the days that follow, too. Let me tell you something I've told hundreds of men in my clinic. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. And it is absolutely not too late to feel strong, clear, and connected again. No matter how long you've been stuck in a loop, you can reset, not by quitting everything cold turkey, not by punishing yourself, but by making one small decision at a time. Your body is incredibly intelligent. It doesn't need perfection. It just needs rhythm. It needs you to show up, not as a soldier, but as a listener. Start simple. Take a 48-hour break and see how your mind responds. Notice your energy when you rest, not just when you release. Try a walk after dinner instead of a quick scroll. Replace one night of porn with a memory, not because you have to, but because you deserve to know how your body truly feels. And here's something else. If you've been using self-pleasure to cope with loneliness, stress, boredom, or heartbreak, I see you. That's not weakness. That's human. We all reach for comfort when life feels heavy, but when that comfort turns into routine and that routine turns into disconnection, your body starts whispering. It's not angry with you. It's just trying to be heard. And when you start listening, even just a little, the results are often more powerful than you expect. Men have come back to me after 2 weeks of mindful change, saying, "I'm sleeping better. I feel more present with my partner. I have energy again, and I don't know why, but I'm just lighter." That's not magic. That's your body responding to attention, to care, to rhythm. So no matter where you are in your journey, whether you're thriving or struggling, remember this: you don't need a perfect plan. You just need a beginning. And the most powerful changes often start with the smallest shifts. Let today be that shift, even if it's just one breath, one pause, one decision to check in with your body instead of checking out, because you're not broken, you're just rebuilding. And that is a powerful place to start. If you've made it to this point, I want to say something very simple but very true. Thank you. Thank you for having the courage to explore a topic most people avoid. Thank you for choosing reflection over routine. And thank you for being here, not just for answers, but for growth. Because this wasn't just a video about masturbation. It was a conversation about you, your energy, your peace, your connection to your body, and your right to feel fully alive even after 40, 50, 60, and beyond. So here's what I'd love you to do next. Take a moment and share in the comments. Honestly, how often is too often for you? There's no judgment here. Just real men asking real questions and finding their rhythm together. And if this video made something click for you, maybe a shift in perspective, a sense of relief, or just a deeper understanding, go ahead and leave a like. It helps this message reach more people who are quietly wondering the same thing. If you'd like more conversations like this, ones that are honest, science-based, and built around respect for your body, subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started. Next week, we'll dive into a new topic. Is masturbation hurting your testosterone after 50? You won't want to miss that one. But for now, let me leave you with this. You are not defined by your habits. You are defined by your ability to grow beyond them. And the fact that you showed up here today, that you listened, reflected, and stayed with this conversation to the end, that says more about your strength than anything else. Be gentle with yourself. Be curious with your body, and never be afraid to start again. Your health isn't behind you. It's still in your hands.